You did it. You found it. You found the perfect home. It's so exciting. Oh, but other buyers liked it too. Now you have found yourself in a multiple offer situation if you want to make an offer, because that property that you're interested in has a lot of interest. So what do? Well, you can call me, you can schedule a call, you can watch this video. 5 strategies for winning in a multiple offer situation. Now, if you Google bidding wars, it will come up under real estate. And a lot of people think, well, I don't want to get in a bidding war. But when you're talking about making an offer against other buyers in the Santa Cruz County, we call it a multiple offer scenario situation. We typically don't say bidding wars, just so you get a little bit of the vernacular here. Even when a property is kind of sitting, don't get excited. There's probably been some interest there already, and you still need to be prepared as though you will have to compete. Now, I did just close one last week where the buyer did wait and watch that property sit and get no offers, and then did write a low offer and got it accepted. So I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying if you really, really like a property, you go to the open house and it's busy, you can expect competition. Okay, here's the 5 tips. So, number 1, the number 1 tip I am going to give you is going to be at the end of these 5. But the one you should know, and this is Buyer 101, you need to have your pre-approval ready, your cash ready, your pre-qualification letter. You need to have how you're going to pay for the home done up front. You need to be able to prove to that seller with your lender letter and your down payment funds that you're good for it. That's the number 1 thing that everybody wants to know. Are you good for the promise that you're going to make on that offer? And for your down payment, where is that money coming from? Write a clean offer. Well, writing a clean offer, I understand as a buyer, that sounds really like, what is that? Well, it's an offer that has very simple terms. Not, we want to close in 47 days because we need to fly out to New York and visit a park. You know, those kind of things. Or we're going on vacation, so we want a 6-week escrow so we can go do that. Stuff that kind of has little extraneous pulls on the offer and doesn't make it really easy to work with the offer. The timelines, the appraisal, the due diligence on the disclosures and the property inspections. You make them very clean and very easy. And sometimes if you can do some of your homework up front, even on the property, it makes it easier. So that would be reading the disclosure link before you make an offer, stuff like that. But a clean offer is just basic terms: offer, close date, how long you need to review the property, and how you're going to hold title and how you're going to pay for it. I mean, really just very, very basic. And in Santa Cruz County, you should know you shouldn't use an escalation clause. And I was researching this video and I noticed that it's recommended to use an escalation clause. What is it? It's a thing that says in the offer, it's a phrase in the offer that says, if there's 3 offers, I'm going to offer 2% over the highest offer. It's called an escalation clause. Most good realtors don't like it. Why? Because it is fraught with illegalities and problems that you can get into with contract law. I don't recommend it. There might be an agent out there that recommends it, but I had a buyer that wanted to do it a few years ago. And I said, okay, sure. I have no fear. I just know the pitfalls and I explain it to them, but if they want to do it, let's do it. And we wrote the offer. It had the escalation clause in it. I got the offer right back within 5 minutes. The agent said, you want to take that escalation clause out and resubmit it? And I was like, yes, more than happy to. And I redid the offer. When you work with me, this is step number 4, although it should be number 1, right? We have private exclusives, and that is where we have off-market properties, but they're not really off-market properties. They're really on the market. They're just not on the multiple listing service. They're not on Zillow. They're not on Redfin. They're only available to Compass agents, clients. Sold 2 this year, on my way to selling 3, and it is only March, where a property came up and buyer and seller met and all their needs got met and that property sold. So that's another way to avoid the multiple offer situation. And then number 5, and we'll get into this here in just a minute, and I have a story for this, but before I lose you, listen. If you don't listen to anything else, please listen to this. Zillow and Redfin are not your friend when you find your dream property and you want to make an offer in a multiple offer situation. Here's how Zillow doesn't serve you. It will either tell you that the prices that you should offer or the price that it's valued at on their website is low and they give you a low price, or they give you a high price. Redfin loves to straddle both sides of the fence, so they'll give you a range. Problem is, none of it's really grounded in reality. Market price is always where buyer and seller meet. So if that's the property that you want, and you know the list price and you're willing to pay more, those are the offers that you need to make. Do not let a website dictate to you what you should be offering. You will more than likely be wrong. Now, I have strategies that you can use those websites in a way, take that information and make your offer. And I will tell you about that, but you have to contact me for that one. But the other thing I noticed with Zillow that you have to be really careful with is if you're looking at a property on Zillow continually, you actually make it think that there's more interest than there is, and you could actually elevate that price, and then your competition can see that price going up because of the interest and or the clicks, and then actually overpay just from being on Zillow and clicking a lot. I actually figured this out. I had a property I was looking at, and me and the seller, I was the listing agent, me and the seller were looking at the property online, and I noticed the value was going up over 24 hours, and I realized, you know what, I think it's us. So I caution everybody, stay off Zillow, stay off Redfin. You can peruse them, but be careful taking advice from them. Then lastly, what you really need to know about, maybe this is tip number 6, maybe you got a bonus. So I had buyers last year. We were writing in a multiple offer situation, and I actually popped up to the listing agent and said, what does the seller want? And he said, the seller wants time. The seller wants 45 days before they close escrow. And I was like, okay, that sounds great. So we made our offer, and then we got a counter, and we came back and we went a bit higher, not a whole lot, but we went higher. And then we also shortened the contingency timeline. So very close to closing this escrow, we found out that we were picked because we were just $5,000 over. Not a whole lot, but it was actually the 5-day contingency period. So we were within $5,000 of our competitors, but it was the 5-day contingency period, the short, just going to be done, ready to go very quickly clause that was put in the offer that won. And that was actually trying to figure out what the seller wanted, what was good for the buyers, what was good to make this offer come together. So sometimes it's really very, very close. So those are the tips I suggest. If you don't take away anything, I would say please just take away that Zillow and Redfin are not your friend in multiple offer situations. And hey, watch my next video, how to avoid costly mistakes when you're getting ready to close, when you're really, really close to actually getting keys. I will give you some information that will really help keep your escrow and your closing and you getting keys all on track. So watch the next one, and I will see you very soon.